Aloha everyone, this is Amy Hanaiali'i. I'm very excited to be here for the Women's Build. I hear you folks are doing amazing things and I'm all about empowering women. And I was asked to come on and do a song for you folks. So mahalo for that. And I was trying to think of what song I could do. And this one comes from a pretty strong, powerful woman. So I thought y'all might like this. It's my tutu. Is where we fool around. Kila kila halima kahale kipo na malihiti. Kila kila halima kahale kipo na malihiti. He many hope. Oi. Oh, my Kaikela. Aloha. Mahalo for having me. We hope.
Thank you, Amy, for that beautiful song to help us kick off our 2021 Women Build. Aloha, everyone. My name is Yvonne McLean, and I am the Community Relations Director here at Habitat for Humanity Maui. I'm super excited to be celebrating with you our Women Build Week in partnership with Lowe's. If you have participated in past Women Builds, you will notice that we're doing things very differently this year. While we're used to all of us gathering on one of our construction sites, whether we're helping to build a new home or repairing a home, you'll see that we are celebrating Women Build Week 100% virtually this year. We are going to be highlighting some of our women volunteers on why they build. And we're going to tag along with our construction leaders, our women construction leaders, Christina Sear and Sam Beth, while they take us with them on a current A Brush with Kindness repair project. And they're going to show us how to rebuild stairs. We'll uncover the importance of taking a stand and helping to make the cost of homes something we can all afford, followed by a discussion with Habitat Maui's Executive Director, Sherry Dodson, and former chair of the Affordable Housing Committee, Councilmember Tasha Kama. We want to thank Lowe's and Habitat for Humanity International for supporting us with another Women Build grant and helping us to empower women to help families build strength, stability, and independence. With the ongoing pandemic, safe and affordable housing is needed now more than ever. And with this grant, we are going to be able to continue fulfilling Habitat's vision where everyone has a decent place to live. At this time, I will turn it over to Habitat Maui's Executive Director, Sherry Dodson. Sherry has served as our Executive Director for over 18 years and has helped guide the organization to completing over 130 homes. She was a member of the Governor's Task Force on Affordable Housing and served as a board member for 5 years on the Hawaii Public Housing Authority. She is currently a member of the Housing and the Health and Human Services Committee for the Mayor's Task Force on Economic Resilience in response to the COVID pandemic. Sherry is a recipient of many awards for her hard work, both nationally and locally. Most recently, she was awarded Maui County's Women of Excellence and represented Habitat Maui while receiving the Maui Peace Hero Award. Welcome, Sherry Dodson.
Aloha! Thank you for joining us today. Habitat's been around for over 25 years here on Maui. We are so excited to be finishing up over 130 homes, either by renovation or full build. Habitat works with families that are 80% and below medium income, and they have to put in sweat equity, which personally I think is the biggest component, because they put sweat equity into their house, which means that they really feel the ownership, and they're learning valuable skills. Our critical repair program is a new program for us. We have been doing repairs for many years, but the critical repair is where Kupuna contact us and we do renovations in the home that allows them to age in place. We have done dozens of them so far, and we plan to do a lot more. It is important for us for people to be able to stay in their home. You know, as we know, having a home gives a safe and stable place for a family to grow. It is especially important for women. Women sometimes end up being single parents or possibly victims of domestic abuse, and they need a safe and stable place for their family. We know from all the studies that children growing up in a stable home do much better than children that don't. We had a story a few years ago of a single mom and her son who were moving from relative to relative and house to house, and then she was awarded a DHHL lot. When she got the lot, we started building with her, and she put in hundreds and hundreds of hours of sweat equity. Well, after they moved in, her son was able to play Little League for the first time on a team. Well, within a year, he was at the World Series for Little League. His baseball career ended up providing a scholarship for him to go to college. It's just one example over the years of families who have a safe place to live thriving. You know, our women builds have been so much fun in the past. It's a great day for women to get together, to support each other, to have fun on the job site, and to learn new skills. We can't get together this year, but that's okay. We can still celebrate each other. We can still lift each other up. There's a lot of women who are successful leaders in our own community. We've had a woman mayor, we've had a woman governor, and we have women on our council. We also have CEOs all over the county that are women, and they support each other, and we want to celebrate them. We have in our own organization a project manager who's a woman and a AmeriCorps volunteer, construction crew leader who's a woman. I'd like to introduce Christina and Sam, who are going to do a how-to video for you. They have led dozens and dozens of volunteers and done dozens of projects, teaching other people, including women, how to do some hammering and sawing and building. And it's a great opportunity for them to share it with you. Please enjoy.
Hi, my name is Christina Sear. I'm the site manager for Habitat for Humanity Maui's Brush with Kindness program.
Hi, I'm Sam Beck. I'm a construction crew lead with AmeriCorps at Habitat for Humanity, and today we're going to be showing you how to build stairs.
Okay, so because this is a renovation project, we started by tearing down the old rotted set of stairs. We painted all the lumber we would use on the new stairs with primer to make it easier to paint once we finished. Once you have access to your deck, you're going to find the total rise of your set of stairs by measuring from the ground to the top of your deck. You'll need to choose how long you want the run or width of your steps on the stringer to be. Usually you don't want your run to be less than 10 inches, and we chose 10.5 inches because that's what the homeowner previously had. When you have those measurements, you can use a stair calculator to determine the rise of each step and the total run of your stairs. You'll be able to see different options depending on how many steps you want. You don't want your steps to exceed 8 inches high, and we made our steps a bit lower for our elderly homeowner at 6.25 inches. When you have your measurements, it's best to create a template stringer out of a scrap piece so you can have all of your stringers be uniform. You'll use the rise and run of your steps and line up a carpenter ruler along the edge of the wood to block out the steps. Continue making steps until they're all outlined. We had 5 total. Use a circular saw to cut the long edges, and then you can go back in with a jigsaw to have nice clean corners. Use this template to trace your stringers onto a 2x12 and use the same sawing method to cut them out. On the bottom of the last step, you'll need to cut out a 1.5 inch by 3.5 inch notch that will fit over a 2x4 at the base of the stairs, which we'll show a little later. Once all your stringers are cut, measure down the side of the deck the rise of one step plus 1.5 inches to take into account that we'll be putting a 2x6 on top of the stringers. This is where the top of your stringers and the blocking will be placed. Nail in your stringers so they are plumb and make sure that the center stringer is placed at half the width of your set of stairs. Measure between each stringer and cut a 2x4 to attach the deck to use as support. Nail your stringers into the side of these pieces to secure them. Using a speed square, place it in the corner of where your stringer meets the deck blocking. Adjust your stringer until the square fits snugly in the corner. Now you can place the 2x4 at the base of your stringers, making sure that each of your steps is level all the way across the width of your stairs. The 2x4 will be Tapconned into the concrete to prevent the stringers from sliding down with use over time. Using a hammer drill with a 1/2 inch bit, drill through the 2x4 and into the concrete. Then simply screw in the Tapcon until tight. Toenail your stringers into the base 2x4 to secure them. Now we can move on to creating the steps by taking the measurement of the width of the stairs. Add 3/4 inch to your measurement so you end up with a 3/8 overhang on each side. Lightly sand the ends of your 2x6 to remove splinters and nail them straight down into each of the stringers, placing 2 boards on one step. We can start working on the handrails now. First, we have to find where the post bases are going to be positioned. We placed ours right at the front of our last steps and use a scrap 4x4 to mark where we'll drill a hole for our anchor. Once you mark where the hole will be, use the hammer drill to make a hole. Hammer in your anchor and with the post base over the screw, tighten the nut until secure. We cut our 4x4x8 in half so we had extra length to determine where the top of our post will be. Use either screws or Tico nails to secure the post into the base. You'll now want to determine what height you want your handrails to be. On average, they'll be 36 inches. Make sure to subtract 1.5 inches to accommodate for the 2x6 that will be used as a cap. Also, mark where the bottom of your handrails will lie on your post, which is usually just a few inches above the steps. Using a chalk line, line it up with the top of the post on the deck with the mark you made on your lower post to see where you'll need to trim your post. This will give you the angle you'll want to cut using a sawzall. Using a vertical 2x4, line it up with the top of your deck post and the lower post and mark on the insides of these posts where you'll want to cut your 2x4. Measuring in place will give you the most accurate cuts. Repeat with another horizontal 2x4 on the bottom of your posts. Nail these flush with your markings into the post. Once your 2x4s are in place, you can begin measuring the length of your pickets and installing them. We use scrap 2x4 as a spacer between each of the pickets, but you can make the space larger or smaller depending on what look you're going for. We place the pickets alongside our 2x4s to mark the top and bottom, cut with a chop saw, and installed with a finished nail gun. Keep going until the space is completely filled and repeat all these steps on the opposite handrails. Similarly to how you cut the horizontal 2x4, line up your 2x6 cap with the top post and bottom post and mark and cut the angle on the top of the 2x6. You can trim your cap to be several inches longer than the length of your handrail to create a finished end. Nail your cap into the 2x4 and into your posts, making sure it's centered across the pickets and straight. To make the ends of the caps, take a speed square and measure 1.5 inches on each side. Create a 45-degree angle line from the edges of the 2x6 to your marks and cut off the triangles using a circular saw. The last steps are to sand down any splinters, putty any nail holes, fill gaps with caulking, and then paint.
Thank Christina and Sam. We've had many great women volunteers on our sites over the years. Some are Women Build veterans, and all are a big part of our organizations and our builds. So let us highlight our women volunteers and construction leaders on why they build and their takeaways on our build sites. We'll also hear from Sandy Duvachel, general contractor and owner of Lehua Builders.
Hi, my name is Kit, and I am a retired elementary school teacher. So when I had some time on my hands a few years ago, I read an article about Habitat for Humanity and volunteering. So I took a chance and went to Happy Valley for a day. Then next year I went on a women build for 4 days. And then in 2018, I started on the Kahoma project. And so for the past 2.25 years, I've been trying to get out there once a week. And so I've had a hand in building every one of these 10 houses. Some of the things that I've done before are a lot of painting inside and outside of the houses, putting up closet doors, flooring, and even putting hurricane clips on the framing. So I encourage all women who have a little time on their hands to go ahead and take a chance and try putting in a few hours or a day with a Habitat project. You'll definitely, the rewards are great. You'll get a great sense of accomplishment and confidence from your work.
Hi, I build because I like to work alongside others as we learn together how to build and create safe homes.
My name is Kelly Aperto. I've been working for Habitat for at least 4 years. I enjoy working because I learn so much from building homes and helping people, because for me that's so important to help people, especially when they're in need and they don't have the money to fix their homes or to do things. So Habitat taught me to do many things.
Hi, my name is Piper, and I recently moved to Maui and decided to help volunteer for Habitat for Humanity of Maui, and I work specifically on the Kahoma project. And I build because it helps me strengthen my connections with the community. During my time during working for Habitat for Humanity, I learned how to put in flooring, I learned how to use a bunch of really awesome power tools, and I met some really great people, volunteers and AmeriCorps workers and community members who are all working together for the common goal of creating affordable housing for the community. And I think if everybody was willing to put a little bit of time and effort into supporting organizations like Habitat for Humanity to create stronger, affordable housing situations for people who really just need a little extra support, we could really strengthen the community and create some really stable and safe places for local community members who just need a little bit more support. So I hope people are willing to put in a little bit of time and help volunteer for these organizations, and plus it's really awesome. It's a bunch of fun and you get to learn some really great skills. So hope to see you out there. Thanks.
Aloha. My name's Caroline. I've been with Habitat since May, June of this year. We've done quite a bit. I've learned from, sheetrock to installation to a little bit of plumbing, painting, so many things that as women we tend to be more, we tend to compartmentalize ourselves into this area where it's not our thing, but there's so much that we can do, and Habitat does empower women to do all these things that I never knew I could do and learn, and now I know what it takes to build a house, which is amazing. Working alongside with Kit, with Sam, Christina, I've learned so much, and of course the guys, but the women just kind of make you feel like we could do anything if we put our minds to it, and they're such a huge part of that. Housing here at Kahoma has been so inspiring. This affordable housing is so important. It's so important to Maui, to all our residents, and all the volunteers that have come out, the owners who have come out to make it all happen. It's really an awesome experience. Now I can tell you exactly how to build a driveway.
Hi, my name is Brynn Hoffman. I volunteered with Habitat for Humanity in Maui for 2 months. I build because a home is not just a physical space to keep you from the elements, but it's also a space of comfort and love and security, and everyone deserves that.
I build because construction sites have a lot of intimidation factors that I think that a lot of women shy away from. I think women don't usually have access to or the opportunity to learn construction skills, and they develop this fear mostly around the kinds of tools that we use. So my favorite part of my job is to empower women to become comfortable with these tools and teach them the safe and proper way to use them. And then when they go to their own homes, they're able to use those skills to maintain their own spaces and do it independently and confidently. I think that I also build because affordable housing is an essential resource for anyone, but particularly for our mothers and especially single mothers. I think that they deserve to raise their families in safe and secure homes. And in this role, that's something that I believe I get to provide for them.
Aloha, my name is Sandy Duvashell. I'm a licensed general contractor in the state of Hawaii, holding license classifications A, B, and C. The name of my company is Lehua Builders. We're a general contracting firm that specializes in residential, subdivision development, and workforce housing. I have been in this industry for 40 plus years. 21 of those years has now been here in the state of Hawaii. I want to thank Habitat for Humanity for asking me to speak to you today during their Women Build Week and encourage other women to consider construction. Construction really offers you the opportunity to obtain equal pay, equal benefits, equal opportunity. Being in this industry all of these years, it has given me an opportunity to give back to my community, to support my family, and I have not regretted it for one moment. I can honestly say that I have never been treated as if I did not belong. I have a great deal of respect for our industry and everyone that's involved in it. If you are looking for a career, I encourage you to consider construction. You won't be disappointed. Thank you very much.
Christina and Caroline said it perfectly. Affordable housing is essential and so important. With the cost of a home rapidly increasing, it's difficult for families to attain permanent housing. It's important that we help to create solutions and policies so that everyone has access to affordable homes. So join us in helping to make the cost of homes something we can all afford.
All across the United States,
families are paying too high a price to cover the cost of home.
Rent and home ownership costs are skyrocketing,
while wages are not keeping pace.
1 in 6 families are forced to make impossible choices
between safe homes,
nutritious food,
health care,
access to good schools, or reliable transportation.
Which would you choose?
Which would you choose?
No family should have to pay more than half their income for a place to live.
Habitat for Humanity is taking a stand.
Habitat for Humanity is taking a stand.
I am taking a stand.
Yo estoy tomando una posición.
I am taking a stand. We are committed to find solutions and create policies
that allow for people to meet their most basic needs.
I believe that no matter where they live or how much they earn,
every family deserves a chance to thrive.
Join us.
Ayúdanos.
Join us.
Join us.
Help make the cost of home something we can all afford.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. I am honored today to have with me to discuss affordable housing and Women's Build, the Honorable Tasha Kama, who is the presiding pro tem of the Maui County Council. She holds the council seat for the Kahului area. She is the chair of the Human Services and Parks Committee and was formerly the chair of the Affordable Housing Committee. Prior to becoming a council member in 2018, she was on various committees and organizations that advocate for housing and Native Hawaiian rights. She's also a former pastor. So hi, Tasha, how are you? And thank you so much for joining us.
Well, aloha awinola to both of you, and thank you for inviting me to be on today's Talk Story. And I'm looking
Thank
forward
you.
to sharing some wonderful um, uh, Talk Story items and issues with you all that's near and dear to my heart.
Well, as we talked earlier, we are in the middle of a national campaign called Cost of Home. And Cost of Home is a 5-year advocacy campaign throughout all the affiliates nationwide, partners in other communities and other housing agencies. And what we are trying to do is reach 10 million people having access to affordable homes. And we believe, and I know you do too, that nobody should have to pay more than 50% of their income towards housing. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think.
So why do you think this campaign is especially important in Hawaii?
Well, I think if you live in Hawaii, you kind of get the idea and the truth of the matter, because if you're living here, that means you're working here, that the cost of living is so high, and yet the wages that people earn are so low. So there's an imbalance in those two things. So if I don't make enough money, and if the cost of living is so high, then that means I'm always going to be falling short of something. And here in Hawaii, um, because the rent is probably next to home ownership, rent is probably the biggest expense that we're ever going to have. And if we can't make that, then we're in big trouble, because that means the stability of our families and our communities is at risk.
Yeah, exactly. And you know why? Again, this is International Women's Month, and we're celebrating women. Why is housing so important, especially for women?
Well, women have always been the nurturers, right? We're the ones that somehow, I'm not sure how this happened, but it seems like in the society, the women was the one that was supposed to be the caretaker of the home and the family and the children, the raising of them, the education of them. So as a woman and as a mom, whether you're single or married, you have a responsibility that is so huge, and it is so great that the responsibilities sometimes that these moms have are more than what sometimes they can bear. And so, to me, why housing is important for women is that it's a stabilizing factor, right? The woman or the mom is the teacher, the educator, the nurse, the bottle washer, the custodian, the laundry lady, and she's all of these things wrapped up in one. But she needs to have something stable in front of her so she can take care of all these other things, the nurturing of that family, right? And if she doesn't have a stable place that she can pick up her feet and rest her legs and be able to relax, then all the other things that she needs to do is not going to fall into place. And the fact that, with the feminization of poverty, which is a tendency for those living in poverty to be women, because they're at a disadvantage, one, because they're women, they're disadvantaged because the greater responsibility that women have falls onto their shoulders. And many of our women are single moms. So those are indicators, right? That the importance of housing for women and to women is at least one way to step out of their poverty, because that's how poverty begins, with the destabilization of families, beginning with the unavailability of housing.
And we also know that unfortunately many women are victims of domestic violence. And so having a safe and stable place to live, if you are a survivor of domestic violence or you're actually undergoing currently domestic violence, you need a safe haven. And so women, it's so essential even for women and their children.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. We had one of our families, she was moving from Hawaiian homelands. She was moving from place to place with her son. And when we finally got her into a stable house in Hawaiian homelands, her son was able to join a baseball team, and for the first time. And within 1 year, he was at the National World Series for Little League. So his whole life changed, and he was able to get a scholarship for college going on with his baseball career. So having that stability and stuff is so important for families.
Because that's your foundation, right? Everybody needs to have a solid foundation from which they begin to develop and to thrive, right? And families develop and thrive when they have a solid foundation. And sometimes just having a place to call home is the beginning of that stabilization, right? And it's through being stabilized that the mom can then begin to do all the things that she needs to do, having peace in her heart and her mind, knowing that her children are safe and that she's doing the best that she can to take care of them. And as she raises her children, those children now become contributing members of the greater community. And so, if we want to continue to foster this kind of a society, then we need to invest in these moms and into these families so that we can help them and to lift them up in those areas that they need to be strengthened in, whether they're single moms, um, moms going through abuse, moms going through drug addiction, or whatever those issues are. Our job really is to support more women as they strive to become the best that they can for their families.
Yeah. And as you mentioned earlier, it's very expensive. Everything is very expensive in Hawaii, but especially housing. What do you think we can do as a community to have access to more affordable housing?
So I think when I think about the word affordable housing, I think about that terminology does not mean the same to developers or contractors or housing advocates or even the Department of Housing and Urban Development as it does to the person who's trying to find something that he can afford, because affordability to them isn't based on somebody's formula that says this is what I think it should be, but it's based upon how much money they make and what the market is offering and whether or not they can meet that offering. So, the formula is used to define, sometimes doesn't fit with people who are experiencing the items or the things such as the cost of a home that's almost $1 million and their hourly pay is closer to minimum wage than it is to livable wage. So we're talking about how to equate this imbalance, right? So we have low wages and a high cost of living. You can earn more money or you can lower the cost of housing. So how do we lower that cost of housing and increase the housing inventory? And for me, I think the way to do it is to create more density. I mean, we live on an island, right? So we only have so much land space, which means that if we all can't be building homes side by side, that means we're going to have to go vertical. And that means we're going to have to build higher than what our current law allows us to build. So right now, I think most of the housing developments here in Central Maui are usually maybe 4 stories high, nothing more. But one report, 2019 report said Hawaii needs 50,000 affordable rentals, which is low income. So if we need 50,000 units, where do we get 50,000 units if our land is so if land is scarce, but we have lots of airspace? So to me, it just makes sense to be able to build high and to create density. And that's something that I think a conversation that many people are not willing to have. But I think for me, housing is expensive because there's not enough of it. But what we can do is to flood the market. If you flood the market with availability of housing, then there wouldn't be that competition, right? Then everybody would be able to afford whatever their paycheck will allow them to purchase. And then you can have housing in the lower income areas as well as affordable purchases in the higher income brackets. But everyone deserves to have a place to live. Everyone deserves that. But I think how we go about it determines what we're going to do to ensure that happens.
Yeah, I guess we should call it accessible housing and not affordable, because affordable means something different to everybody. So accessible, housing. And I know I've heard you talk a lot about, trying to get land, to make it available for affordable housing by, county infill projects, county land, state land.
Yes.
We built our 16-unit condominium project in Happy Valley on, 13,000 square feet.
Yep.
You know, I think what we need to do, as you said, is get some land banks. The great thing about infill building is that it's closer to your doctor, it's closer to your grocery store, so that you don't have to have a car, you can walk, which is great for the environment too, right? So
yes.
Yeah. Wrapping this up, I wanted to ask you, you know, what advice would you give a young woman who either wanted to get into politics or wanted to get into advocacy, or, you know, basically just wants to make a difference in her community?
I think I tell all the young people this, even my aides. I mean, I had 2 interns working in my office, and today was their last day because they got to go back to school and things like that. But I tell them that if you really want to make a difference, get involved in your community. Whether but find something that you want to do, find something that keeps your heart beating, find something that is going to make you feel good about what it is that you're doing from somebody else. When you're doing something for someone else, you can make a difference. So I tell them, get involved in your community, get involved in your church, get involved even in your work. Sometimes even at work, there are other extracurricular things that happen, and you can get together with your peers and your fellow coworkers and do stuff. But if you want to make a difference, you have to get involved.
Thank you so much. I wish we could have a normal women's build, you know, like we do every year, but I think this is going to be fun, the virtual women's build. And I really appreciate all your efforts on affordable housing. You've been passionate about it for years, and you've been very supportive of Habitat for Humanity. The whole organization really appreciates. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak. And so you guys take care, and I'm looking forward to more projects on Maui.
We have really enjoyed putting this together for you, and we hope you've enjoyed watching it. You know, Habitat survives on volunteers and donations. If you'd like to get involved, give us a call. And if you'd like to make a donation to help a deserving family realize the dream of homeownership, get on our website, www.habitat-maui.org, or give our office a call, 242-1140. Thank you so much, and aloha.
She's just a girl and she's on fire, harder than a fantasy, lonely like a highway. She's living in a world and it's on fire, filled with catastrophe, but she knows she can fly away. Oh, she got both feet on the ground and she's burning it down. Oh, got her head in the clouds and she's not coming down. This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire. She's walking on fire. This girl is on fire. Looks like a girl, but she's a flame. So hot she can burn your eyes. Better look the other way. You can try, but you'll never forget her name. She's on top of the world. Hottest of the hottest girls say, oh, we got our feet on the ground and we're burning it down. Oh, we got our head in the clouds and we're not coming down. This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire. She's walking on fire. This girl is on fire. Everybody says that she goes by, 'cause they can see the flame that's in her eyes. Watch her as she's lighting up the night. Nobody knows that she's a lonely girl, and it's a lonely world, but she gon' let it burn, she's on